Manipulating science, corporates and industry strategies to avoid regulations. In this video, we explore different strategies, including manipulating science, that are used by some big corporates and industries to avoid regulating their problematic technoscience products. Many of us have experienced benefits of developments in science and technology. For example, food production has increased in amount and varieties. Access to information and connecting with people far away become much easier through developments in telecommunications. And biomedical developments allowed facing sickness and diseases and supporting the increasing of life expectancy. Yet, with benefits come also problems. Some of these problems are unexpected and evolve as part of new developments in science and technology. Others, however, are intentional. For example, evolving of antibiotic-resistant bacteria was an unexpected problem that resulted from the overuse and misuse of antibiotics. Pollution was also an unexpected problem of using fossil fuel, but it continued despite our growing knowledge of the problem. In comparison, digital surveillance is a problem created by intentional collection of internet users' private data by big tech companies such as Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, which compromise users' privacy. Another important problem is that access to benefits of technoscience developments is not equally shared, with big gap between the affluent and disadvantaged communities. In this video, we are going to focus on problems related to intentional misuse and manipulation of technoscience by some big industries and corporates, such as the oil and gas industries, tobacco companies, and some chemical industries. Before watching this video, we recommend that you watch our video about scientific uncertainties and scientific consensus to better understand how science actually works. Learning more about nature of doing science will help you to see the differences between authentic scientific disagreements and those fake ones. It will also allow you to better understand the technique used by some big companies to manipulate and misuse science, especially when you compare those with the authentic ones. You can find a link to our Scientific Uncertainties video in the description. For now, let's continue to explore the different manipulative techniques that are used by big companies and industries. When a technoscience product or service is found to be risky or problematic, government usually puts regulation and laws to stop or minimize these risks. Such regulations can cause losses to the producing industry or company. In such cases, some big corporates or industries use different tactics and strategies to delay regulations and avoid any possible legal consequences. These strategies involve engaging with technoscience to create intentional doubts about the validity of the scientific basis on which the risk or the problem is based. Engaging with the public to create intentional controversies where there is otherwise scientific consensus about the harms caused. And engaging with politics to influence regulatory and lawmaking agency and sway their final decisions to best serve the interest of the big industries and corporates. Let's have a closer look on these strategies. One main way through which some big industries and corporates engage with technoscience is by paying some scientists and technical experts to provide biased scientific proofs and testimonies about their risky products or services, and to manipulate the processes through which science is done so that doubts and controversies are created. So, for example, The industry might hire experts that can then attack and discredit opposing scientists who have critiqued the risky products. By raising questions about the scientists' reputation and expertise, their judgment and views become also questionable. Another way in which science is manipulated is by what's called science for specification. Instead of starting with a question and search for what appears to be the most valid answer, a paid in-house scientist or a hired research institute usually starts by the conclusion that most supports the industry's goal and then work it out to confirm that specific conclusion. For example, when the American Petroleum Institute faced accusation regarding possible connections between benzene, which is a natural component of crude oil, and different types of blood cancer, they hired ChemRisk, which is a firm that provides consultations to industries facing legal responsibilities. ChemRisk suggested to work with scientists from the AP Institute to develop a research paper that presents evidence that benzene can cause only one type of blood cancer, and then work it out to prove this conclusion. When they published their paper, they didn't disclose that the research was conducted with a certain conclusion in mind, and that the research paper was edited by a group of the industry's representatives. Big industries and corporates might also hire a special firm to establish on their behalf by scientific advisory boards to testify or provide consultations during the regulatory processes and when addressing the public through the media. The advisors chosen by the firm are usually not really independent, but represent the interests of the hiring industries and implicitly support their goals and positions. For example, the tobacco company established the Center for Tobacco Research Scientific Advisory Boards. While scientific advisory boards can generally produce legitimate science, such kind of biased one can be used by big industries to support the appearance of scientific controversy. With these strategies, controversies and doubts begin to be intentionally generated over what is otherwise clear and evident risk. Moreover, the hired scientists and technical experts might work to create scientific doubts about the reality of these risks by questioning the type of supporting evidence and by choosing the type of evidence and type of research that best support the interest of the hiring industry. For example, epidemiological studies and animal testing are both used to examine whether certain substance is causing certain health disease. While epidemiology examines possible effects directly on humans, it usually takes a lot of time and effort to collect reliable data and to establish strong evidence. On the other hand, animal-based testing is much faster but might not perfectly mirror effects on humans. Because many toxic-related diseases need very long time to be detected, chemical industries usually ask for epidemiological proof as evidence of their risky products. On the other hand, because epidemiological evidence has already been established regarding possible relationship between smoking and cancer, tobacco companies try to rely on animal-based data instead. These are some examples of how science is manipulated to support problematic for-profit goals and interests by creating intentional doubts and controversies about what is otherwise evident risks and problems. As you have learned about how science can be manipulated for for-profit goals, here is an activity to put your learning into practice by examining how science around endocrine-disrupting chemicals can be manipulated and misused. First, watch this YouTube video that briefly explains what are endocrine-disrupting chemicals and what are health risks associated with them. You can watch the video by clicking on the link in the description. Then, skim the Le Monde article, which is signed by many scientists. You can access the article by clicking on the link in the description. Now, these are 3 passages from a scholarly article that describes different strategies used by chemical industries to engage in and manipulate science to create doubts about problems related to endocrine-disrupting chemicals. In small groups, choose one or more of these passages to analyze. Identify the different strategies used by the chemical industries to engage with and manipulate science, and discuss how might each strategy sway public opinion or policymakers. Create an art-based message to communicate what you have learned and make others aware of these manipulation strategies. You can create an infographic, a meme, a collage, a song, a cartoon, or any other art-based message you might like to do. Once scientific doubts are established, they are used to manipulate public opinion and to influence regulatory agencies to sway their regulatory decisions. Besides manipulating science to sway public opinion, other tactics are used to engage with the public to affect their positions. Let's explore these together. The media is one of the main outlets through which industries and corporates communicate with the public through accessible and appealing language. To influence the public perspective about the actual risk of a problematic substance, some big industries and corporates work at controlling the flow of information to the media. They can, for example, sponsor ghostwriting editorials that support their position. They can also hire media specialists to train industry's experts on how to handle difficult questions when appearing on the media. Also, big industries and corporates pay a lot of money for advertising campaigns in different media outlets, which is something very profitable for these media outlets. This puts these industries in a position of power and allow them to impose their demands on the media by threatening when necessary to withdraw their investments in the advertising campaign. These tactics can help industries to control what appears on the media, to create manufactured controversies, and shape public opinion. Another way to create manufactured controversies and influence public opinion about industry risky products is by astroturfing, which is creating fake grassroots organizations to advocate for industry's interests. To know more about astroturfing, you can watch our next video by clicking on the link in the description. Through manufactured scientific doubts and public controversies, the involved industries and corporates are now ready to engage with lawmakers and regulatory agencies who make decisions about their risky products and services. Big corporates and industries use different approaches to influence regulatory agencies and policymakers. Sometimes they try to take control over regulatory agencies by assuring that people with connections to the industries are sitting on these regulating panels to advocate for industry's interests. they try to capture these agencies. Regulatory capture is when regulatory agencies, such as Food and Drug Administration, are captive of the industries they are supposed to regulate. To know more about regulatory captures, watch our related video by clicking on the link in the description. In this video, we learned how some big industries and corporates use different strategies to engage with technoscience, the public, and policymakers. As we learned, science and uncertainties can be intentionally used and manipulated to create doubts and avoid regulations. If there is a product that you have doubts regarding their safety, or you feel that the public opinion about them has been manipulated, you can investigate more about it by doing secondary research and primary research. If your research confirmed your doubts, you can plan and take on actions like, for example, creating educational video, blog, or a page on the social media to make people aware of these risks. You can also write a petition to your Member of Parliament to ask for regulating this product. You can find free online tools to do research and actions on the STEPWISE webpage at the following link. Thank you for watching.